Welcome to Kairos, and thank you for this wonderful, beautiful day that we're with the President of the People's Revolutionary Movement, President Buthelezi, all the way from KwaZulu-Natal. So delighted, and I am so blessed that we have come to this far in order to make an assurance that we share, especially when it comes to the politics of the church, because I believe that we are living in the times where if we don't hold it by our own hands, it might not happen. So for that reason, I just want to say to all of you that are watching and coming through at home, thank you for coming through. And I believe that the race has begun. We began many couple of months ago, and we never stopped after the 2019 elections. And our belief is that if we can make it a sort of that we give platform, especially to the emerging political movements that are moreover having a common stance when it comes to kingdom governance and matters, especially in the politics. So I want to thank you all for coming on board, and let us just make it a sort of as we are sharing this broadcast to our friends and share it to others, and tell them that we're going to have a very kind and of a political talk, and it's going to be a presidential kind of a talk where I believe that we will be talking from the heart, and moreover beginning to charge the church of God. Remember, one of the things that the church did not have all along, the ignorance that has been in the house of God, and also the say prophetically that says we have nothing to do with politics, and that to it has actually tolerated us and also permitting those who are inferior and those who knows the capability of the institution called church, and now we have been in that very position for a very long time. That's why we have seen now politics have grown to as far that the church is now sailing in a vacuum and in a gap, and we don't know how to fill up. When you ask believers whether possibilities of raising its own leadership into standing in regard to kingdom governance, the leadership of the church and the church in general, they don't actually now, we don't believe, we don't have faith, we are faithless when it comes to that, and also understanding that it is important for us to absolutely begin to raise our own leadership in the studio. And now even on the very run, I have a leader and I have a man that I believe that now, you see, when a vision is being given, then it is given. It doesn't matter what the narrative is, because even when the narrative is not yet understood, it comes to time when many people will get to understand in time, because that's when we realize that politics of the church are different from what we have actually are now accustomed of. So it's important that we need to talk about this, and so that we can start vomiting Babylon and vomit the systems, the ways of how politics have been run. Because remember, the Church of God is the, I would say, the mother of politics. We gave that politics, we stood and prayed for this baby politics, and to this day, what we need to do is to make an assurance that we bring education so that our people can absolutely understand why is it important to have a leadership that fears God. And they might not be excellent, they might not be the Mandela type, they might not be the Sobukwe type, they might not be the type of what you actually are looking for, they might not be the Steve Biko type, they might not be the favorite that you had under Africanism, but they are carrying a mandatory of the kingdom, and they need to be heard and they need to be supported. Once we give them a platform, we might actually experience greatness in what is happening. So now for that reason, I am calling forth for each and every one of you now. Let's welcome Emily in the very studio as I will be proceeding and making an assurance that we move now as to welcome Ubaba Buthelezi, the president of the people, revolutionary movement. And I am so delighted and so delightful to have you, a man who speaks his heart, who speaks from the heart of God, a man who stands for what he believes. And I want to say this now, that now he's got comments and he's got things that he's going to declare. We need to give and also award him that opportunity to declare as much as meaning what could be the sense of meaning the PRM as a movement in South Africa. We are preparing for our 2021 local government election, LGE 2021, and now we say this will be a platform for all, meaning the emerging, meaning political movements, and we'll be standing together and also to share our narratives to those who want to actually come on board and hear. So thank you so much, and I welcome all of you. And as we are beginning, and also to hear from the man and hear from the president himself, and I'm so delighted. President Usazungela, I'm waiting for a time where we are mostly, I would say, able to can sing songs. And I understand at times, Uguti, it's difficult for even believers to know that we are able to can narrate ingoma esnat ula kunengoma thina siyayifuna sithi just like the day or the day of Pentecost baphatisa ngomlilo hangomlilo wekhofuramu we-PRM, just like the day, how the day of Pentecost, so baphatisa ngomlilo we-PRM. So kunengoma president ezikhona engicabanga ukuthi abantu abaningi abazi ukuthi ibandla lingakwazi ukuthi lime likwazi ukusebenza lo msebenzi, and ngaleyo ndlela kuleyo nto ngithi ngifuna ukuthi ngibeke before singavele siqhubeke ukuthi ekugcineni ukwaziwe ukuthi no upresident uyayazi khongolose ngaleyo ndlela kungalokho ama-decisions ayenziwa manje senzela manje umbuso wezulu. And it's very much particular that people must understand that ukuthi we are not coming to this because we don't know politics. Sikhulele kuyo, we all have been fed from it. So in other words, we understand politics, we know politics, hence we don't want to be attached with the politics or with the traditional politics that is out there. Sifuna ukuthi abantu balazi ipolitiki eliphilisayo, ipolitiki urhulumente omsayo uNkulunkulu. So I want to welcome you, President Buthelezi, the president of the People's Revolutionary Movement. Thank you so much, Baba. You're welcome. Bulisa nje ichaba lakho, bulisa abantu bakho, bulisa iSouth Africa. Siyakumukela kuKairos. Siyabonga.
Thank you. Good evening, President, Governor of the Kingdom Parliament, President of the Eco Forum, my leader, my pastor. I also greet everybody who's watching and who's listening. This is the great day that God has arranged. God arranged it before we were born. He knew that by this day, there's going to be this move. He knew that there was going to be PRM, which was going to shake the ruling party and other parties in KZN and everywhere else. which was going to come with his ideas when people do not have hopes where to go, and when people and the country are confused. God knew that there was going to be Eco Forum, but the Eco Forum was not going to organize itself. It was going to organize according to his will. That's why today there was the interaction between the president of the PRM, the president of the Eco Forum, to say, from here, where do we go? Do we mourn and cry and say we have been defeated by both the IEC and the ruling party and other parties? Or do we say they can do their satanistic way of robbing people and ensuring that they remain in power, but the hand of God will stretch upon us and gives us power so that we are able to unite and say we are ready to defeat them? When we start with them, we'll start with them in 2021 at the local level. As PRM is always saying, it believes that the revolution will come from below, because our God is with us and is with the people. And below, there's a church. The church is undermined so great by the ruling party. Even in the constitution, there's very little, if there is any, except the bluffing and singing of Inkosi Sikelel' Africa, which they're not singing about the real God that we believe in. They're singing about the other God. If they were singing about the real God, the God of heaven and earth, of heavens and earth, they would not be allowing any satanistic churches to be opened in this land of God, because there is no one who have created both heavens and earth except God. The evil spirit Satan has never created anything except stealing and invading the territory where God has created. So if ever Nkosi Sikelel' Africa is sung in the real sense of the Holy Spirit, we are hoping that the policies and the laws that have been made in Parliament would not have been made. It would have meant that even the beginning of the opening of the Parliament, where there would be the State of the Nation address by the President, it will be first during the morning, in the morning, and up to the afternoon before the President would come in. The churches would be given a space to bless Parliament, to bless the proceedings that would be there. But now we are saying we are building our own parallel parliament, the Kingdom Parliament, the Kingdom Parliament of the believers, the true believers. Now is the time to separate between the true believers and those who are not really believers, those who are bluffing us, those who are not really pro-God, but who are pro-devil spirits and who like quick things and do not want to work for God in the true way that God would love and expect us to do. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Let me just throw it on your court. Just a couple of things that we deal with, especially where we come from as a church, and moreover, how politics have emerged. You know, according to my history and understanding where politics are coming from, Ubaba Umkhulu, uJoseph Umavumbela Unxumalo, and who has his own DNA on who we call today the ANC, and my blood runs with that history, and which I want to put before we continue. And in those days where Dr. Umalume Udube had to be also be Noshene and had to be appointed for such a time by Inkosi Sepras, and so that they make assurance ukuthi kube namadoda ahlakaniphile afundile azokwazi ukuthi they can interpret for the people. And many movements began, like your South African National Native Congress, which is today the ANC. And I want to now put it polite to say, now in those days, they depended on the chiefs and they depended on the men of clergy, or I would say abafundis, the reverends, in order to execute, or abantu abasenkonzweni, in order to make sure that they proceed with this political arm. Because if we all can remember, Uguti, they were not actually permitted because in the early 1900s coming up, because fairly that they were actually named and called names such as being terrorists. So now somebody had to stand on the gap. And who stood on the gap? And that's why we have the first president of the ANC being a reverend. That tells you, I mean, the background of where politics are coming from. Hence, today, even the church that's supposed to understand what they are talking about, they cannot, because everybody, because of this, the flamboyance that is being revealed, the mafiaism that has been displayed, everybody, the autocracy that we are experiencing, everyone is now worshiping what they are seeing today. So, President, I will appreciate that. What would be the purpose and meaning of the movement, especially in our time, and what will be the your modus even operandi, if I can put it that way, where you can maybe summarize it so to maybe bring it out to the people so that they can understand our existence and us being here, not in competition, but to complete and meaning work that is ancient, that even our forefathers have went through. And we are standing to say, let a kingdom movement come from forth. And that's where I see a PRM, I mean, as people's, I mean, a revolutionary movement coming out in the KZN, where you even managed to be a PR in some of the wards, and now the people, I mean, in KZN are actually supporting the movement to thus far. What will be the purpose and what is the modus operandi in such a time where even our own might not believe that it can happen? What would be the purpose of a Christian movement?
Thank you, President. As a movement, working together with other parties who are interested to bring about reality and change in this country, we are envisaging a situation where people will have an option of an alternative voice, because all other parties that exist in parliament, you can listen to them. They may pretend as if they are contesting against one another, whereas they are the same. Look at their beliefs. Look at their policies. They believe in the same thing. They are only fighting to be the better devil angels. We are saying we are bringing an alternative option of God. We will be working on the ground, mobilizing the people, telling them about both the PRM, the Eco Forum, and other parties that would be joining, working most particularly in areas where we've already are known towards the elections, 2021, November 3. We have already started in some areas like Gauteng, but more strongly in KZN. Yes, in Free State, we do work, but in KZN particularly, we have targeted an area which has got more population, eThekwini. Yes, of course, Umgungundlovu, Pietermaritzburg, we do work, but we'll be ensuring that in areas where we are strong, like eThekwini, Newcastle, we win wards. Bergville, we win wards because we are strong as well there. But Etiogeni, that's where the bulk of the support is coming. We haven't quantified it into wards, which wards we are sure that we are going to win. Although the reports that we are getting is that in Bergville, we are sure of what 11. What 11 is given. In Newcastle, there are 5 wards that, in fact, we've been promised that as long as we continue servicing the people, we are going to win. We've got 1 councillor there, which we got in 2016. We're still going to continue and getting more, because that councillor is a PR councillor representing the People's Revolutionary Movement, PRM of Heavens. So, because that's how we call ourselves. We are not just the PRM, but we come from the advice from Heavens. So we are going to interact. Our view would have been that President Pastor Langa would lead the umbrella body, whereas he leads the Eco Forum and the Kingdom Parliament. His age allows him to be multitasked. That's what we've been thinking, and we are persuading the church to allow, and as a pastor, so that we don't deviate. You know, usually I don't want to talk about devil, but I would say that because it's not the person that I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on the will of God, not on his will. But I know that there is his attempts. He always attacks those who believe in God. But I don't want to talk about him because I want to undermine him in the very same way that he wants to undermine us and God. So the most important thing for me and for us is to put the name of God before any other name that is anti-Christ, anti-God. So when the ANC, as you were saying, was formed by the kings and queens, as well as the clergy, people of the church, it totally undermined the people of the church and undermined the church itself, but is abusing the church to a very high degree. That we were hoping that when Parliament and when it got seats in Parliament, it was going to consider that it puts the church at the center. Because the majority of the people here in South Africa, I'll talk more about South Africa because that's the terrain that I understand better. That South Africa is about 95% Christians, and they don't want to accept that. It's true, it's given. Whether people may not go or do not go to the church, but they are Christians. That's how we grew up, and that's what we understand. We understand Bible more than Quran and any other book. We understand God more. Whether we understand God in the traditional way, but that God is the very same God that is there in the Bible. From Genesis to the last book, the Bible talks about the same God. And it mostly talks about us, the African people. I looked into the 5 books. That these 5 books, from Genesis to Deuteronomy, talks to us. That's when the PRM took a stand. And then we continued and continued with the Bible, trying to find where did the country go wrong. We found that there are things that the country did which are not acceptable and are anti-God and are undermining the Holy Spirit and the Holy Bible, like homosexual. And the PRM stands firm against same-sex marriage. We looked at the issue of abortion. Who creates the soul? Only God. Who aborts? The anti-God and the anti-Christ. They promote abortion. They say, no, abort, you can kill. You've got a right to kill. It's your democratic right. You can abort that baby. People who have not been aborted, but they abort, human beings. A baby is a human being. A soul thrown into the spermatozoid of a man by God and accepted by a woman in the womb, then some laws are decided that they can be killed through abortion. And we are against that as a PRM. And we are challenging. We're challenging the ANC, we're challenging the ruling party and all other parties who accept that. They say if a baby is 28 days or a fetus is 28 days, you cannot abort. We are saying if a baby has got a second, that's a baby. That's a human being. That fetus is a human being. It's a soul. It breathes. God has put the soul in that. So you don't have a right. Not unless it happens as a miscarriage. There's nothing that you can do. It's a miscarriage. But you cannot take a conscious decision that I'm killing this baby. They are saying, I know, but you find that the baby is not sitting in a correct place and so on and so on and so on. No. But if the health policy of this government can allow a woman, there's somebody who's phoning me, can allow a woman, can you hear me? Can allow a woman to see the gynecologist at the first, second, early days of suspicion that there's something wrong, I might be pregnant. If every female is allowed, a female that is allowed to have a baby, no baby can be found sitting in a wrong place, will be taken, because a fetus is very flexible. It moves. The gynecologist can put the fetus in a correct place where it's supposed to be put, because only the poor women from poor families have got a problem that forces them to abort. Only those. No rich women from rich families would experience those problems. We say then we need an intervention of the government and the funding of the health programs and doctors. And we need to focus on educating and training our children to understand and to learn health. And we put health as priority number one to try and fight the issue of abortion, miscarriage, and all other things related to that. We are saying same-sex marriage. We can talk about this. I'm not sure, President, if I'm still correct.
No, you're still correct. We can hear you. You are ahead. Okay. You are audible, sir. Thank you so much, President Buthelezi. I just wanted to interject, especially on when you are touching base on abortion, because you know what I've realized, particularly personally, when I got into, I never had interest of politics, and when I was led, because you need to be led, you need to be graced to be led into something that you don't meaning go train for, but you're trained in on a different platform. So I just want to put this across that when we came down very strongly as a small movement, and everybody wanted me to talk politics, and people thought, some of them say, no, President Langa or Apostle, you're not robust, you're bringing out talk like, so they want me to talk like Malema or talk like any other politician. And I said to them, I don't have an interest. I'm an apostle. I'm an apostle. So I've learned to be an apostle for all my life, whether it could be more than 30-something years. That is, I've learned all my life. And to this day, Now, if somebody has been nurtured in politics, then let them do what they have actually been nurtured to do. So now I found such a pressure from the house because they never understood the politics that says we need to stand biblically, stand for canonical laws and what the word of God is saying, especially on the subject on what we're talking about, highlighting which PRM stands for, as to be meaning pro-life, and moreover a kind of a no to an abortion, and which is my stance, which is what I'm standing for, because we cannot be selfish to a point that we allow certain narratives, and people don't know that abortion has become a business rather than trying to assist a troubled young lady or a troubled family that might be poor or might have went through an incident that brought that baby on board. And we were standing to say, how about having not just even an alternative, but we have a way on saying, now how do we do it that we are pro-life and we save the soul of that child, and we might be saving our next president, or we might be saving our next teacher. But now the world and even where politics are going, it looks very cool when politicians says we sign and we assent a bill that actually communicates termination of babies, whereby even whether it's at the dimension of big footers or zygote, and you find that people are saying, no, it's not yet a child, not yet formed to be a child. But now when you want a baby so much, and you have been wanting to have a baby, that possibility of you catching and also being pregnant or conceived, it's exciting. So why, when one wants to kill a baby, they want to also begin to now cut short the processes that the process is not important because the baby is not yet fully formed. And to me, I stand to deeper, because yes, I understand that now there is a politics that comes from the pit of hell, which even the church is not aware, and they are not educated to understand what these politics are for. Because when you kill a baby, you are killing the future. You are killing a generation that is to come. You are killing our future accountants. You are killing them consciously. Now, you see, many will say to me, President Langer, the problem is now this woman has went through maybe abuse or maybe some unloved relationships, but that is not a concern, because all of us we were born out of something, out of a calamity. It might be out of a loveless relationship or an absent father. We are all coming out there, but because we were given an opportunity to live, hence today, we can make an impact at our areas of operation because we were permitted. So now the church is not aware of such things, because I said to them, politics are not only for us to say, let the churches open. Politics are more than that. It's not for us just sit there and say, let's pray. It's not about prayer. It's not about just opening the church. It's more about the polity. You see, the policies, formation of the policies within the movement that is particular. Hence, if we could make efforts to communicate and educate the church in general, as you indicated, that we having an approximately population of 95%, which is of Christendom, or would I say 78 exact to 93% to 95. So now these are the people that are in church, out of church, culturally, traditionally, and otherwise. They are there, Pentecostal, charismatic, and all of them know themselves as what? Christians. So now I am bringing this down to say, to consolidate what you have just spoken, President Buthelezi, to say this is the kind of education we must bring. To say when we talk of a political movement, we are not just talking about fighting a certain or maybe campaigning for a certain thing. We are standing for a cause. And when you stand for a cause, these are the questions that needs to be asked, so that when we ask such sensitive questions and answer them accordingly without wavering and shivering, because any political movement that will not be able to stand as a pro-life, that political movement is standing not for the body of Christ. Because when you stand for the body of Christ, you will stand to protect the children. As much as we want to protect them with GBV, let's protect them from death. Let's protect them from organizations and philanthropies that are actually running this kind of moves into making sure that we have abortion clinics and so forth. We stand and we say, not in South Africa. Children are to be given an opportunity to live and also to breathe and also to have life, as they also were given life. So the narrative of abortion, people don't know where it comes from. They don't even know where it is funded. It's moreover of an economy. It's what we call an abortion. It's an economy that is out there, that is used in the same proportion on what we are going through now. So now, in other words, I'm in support to what you are saying, to say the church needs to be educated in that regard. And you have touched something very particular, just to give you a sense and to pour out. As you were coming in, and I heard you talking in regards to same-sex marriage. And most oftentimes when I get questions that are in that line, in terms of such, I am particular. And sometimes even when I throw that answer with wisdom for one to understand that now we are not standing at the position of hatred. No, we're standing for the origins. And when you stand for the origins, allow us to stand for the origins. Don't kill everything based on evolution, or just make sure you allow us to stand for origins. And if we say no, let us maintain what we believe that it is well, so that it becomes a way of keeping the seed, so we can still have that nuclear family of a father and a mother existent. Because even in the same-sex marriage, we all of them are a production of a father and a mother. So I understand that your take is from there. And I saw the news when you were taken into court, basically based on this same-sex marriage. I'm not sure if I'm throwing it too deep, but I saw the news, and PRM stood, and you stood for your word. You stood, and your stance was so hard, you never shivered. What is your take on that, President Buthelezi, as the people's revolutionary movement? What's your take on same-sex marriage? Like, is the church gonna play politics that are more comforting, or are they going to deal with serious issues such as this? So now, I'm so glad that you are talking about this. What could be the take of the PRM as a movement?
Yes, we deal with all the issues, economy, land, all the issues, but these ones belong to us because we understand them better. We begin to discuss as part of the kingdom of God, that we need to discuss and conscientize ourselves, remind ourselves who we are, and ensure that we put X next to the correct parties that are for God, not wrong parties, because for so long, people have been voting wrongly. Now we need to correct and discuss these matters. The same-sex marriage is ungodly, is anti-God, and is pro-devil. You can go to your Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 9 to 10, and read there. You'll find what God says there. You can also go to Leviticus Leviticus 18, 22. You'll hear what God says there. And again, Leviticus 20, verse 13. God will explain exactly what he says there. If you are against that, then you'll continue with what you are doing if you don't read the Bible properly and understand. Most particularly, it starts on the clothing part, on Deuteronomy, where Deuteronomy 22, verse 5 explains how a man and a woman should dress. That's where the issue is, because it starts like that, and then people want to continue. I don't want to read the verse or to recite the verse as they were or as they are in the Bible, but I will challenge the listeners to go and read those verses and hear what God says. Even Timothy 1, 9. Go and read Timothy 1, 9 and hear what God says there through Timothy. The same-sex marriage is ungodly because people are born men, but they want to be women. Women are born women, but they want to be men. Whether you like it or not, no man shall bore a child. No man. No man can be pregnant. No woman can impregnate another woman. It will never happen. It will never happen. You can die and come back if you like. It will never happen. A woman is a woman, was born by God, but we know that women are attacked by evil spirits. Others are telling us that, no, my baby was born like that. We say, no, that baby should be born again. Bring it to Pastor Langa. We'll pray. We'll take to all those who believe in God, all the prophets, all the pastors, all the children of God will pray. Definitely, as long as that girl, that boy, that child accepts God as the King, Jesus, definitely all the parents' sins, the ancestral sins will run away. The devil spirits will run away. That's what we need to do, because people are saying, no, I was born like this. No one was born opposite to what God brought him or her. No one. Only devil attacks the property of God. God cannot create a property and then attack. They say, let me go back. Maybe this links me back to the abortion. They say, no, a fetus is not a human being. Okay, kill the fetus, but not the soul. Because you say the fetus is not, but there's a soul there, and you cannot create a soul. I can see fetus, sometimes it will develop, and everybody began. How does a human being become a human being? What are the stages? You have to be a sperm. That sperm, God will put the soul to breathe, and it's termed a fetus or a zygote or whatever. Once God has put the soul, don't kill it. If you are killing it, you are helping the devil spirits. Don't kill the soul. Don't remove the soul because you don't have authority. Because we usually have, sometimes in December, defend women and children. But what about babies that are not defended, that are being killed every day by doctors through the legislation of parliament? But children who cannot defend themselves cannot be defended, but they shall be killed because a mother of that child feels that, no, I don't want that. That is where we say the government must intervene. If a mother is pregnant and is not ready for that baby does not belong to that mother. It belongs to God and the government. And the government must intervene and ensure that that baby is taken care of, because that might be the future pastor. Let me make an example. If Jesus was born in South Africa these years, from 1994 upwards, Jesus would have been killed because Joseph would have said, no, I am not sure whether it's me who have made you pregnant, before the angel would come. This current government would have said, hey, are you suspicious, Joseph? Said, no, I'm suspicious. Okay, let's terminate this pregnancy. Jesus would have been terminated, but I'm sure they were going to fail. There's another king here in KZN who was ruling, King Shaka, the way he came to life. That is why he was called Ichaka, something that is a sickness in Queen Nandi's womb. They said, no, it's a disease called Ichaka. If in this day it happened, King Shaka would have been terminated. We would not have a king called Shaka today. We would not have him in our history, not known him. How many prophets have been killed by this ANC to date, including in America? Our research, when we were doing the research, we found that more than 6 million babies, have been killed in the world. More than 6, maybe there are more now, because that investigation was done in 2015. There are more.
Okay.
At that time, more than 60 million, babies have been killed by governments all over, particularly in Europe, America, and here in South Africa. Killing, undefenseless, babies killed because of these laws that we borrow from America and other countries and put them here against God in South Africa. So we're saying, we're contesting that homosexuality is a sin. Is a sin. We don't accept our homosexuality. But a person who says, I'm a homosexual, but I want you to join the Kingdom Parliament, to say, as long as you accept that God is Lord and Jesus is Lord, we'll accept you. Let's pray that we fight these demons in you. Accept that you are a woman. If you accept that you are a woman, God will ensure that you are saved. Be born again. We'll pray for you. If you are a woman, you will have to find a partner, a male partner. Divorce yourself from another female partner. Divorce and pray. Because people do not pray. Everything rests with the prayer. As long as you pray, and when you pray, you pray honestly. Hello, are you talking, President?
Yes, okay. I wanted to interject there, President, because I couldn't interject because I could hear that you are talking a very important matter. As I'm listening, I'm thinking, is the Church of God ready? There's a say that what I see happening, most institutions, whether it's Islam, whether it's Catholicism, they are pro in what they are doing, and they are not controlled by anybody. They are not controlled by any state. But there is only this one institution called the church, which everybody wants to just toss up and down. And unfortunately, even now, brethren have actually become, they are weakened in their heart to realize that we are living in the end times. And the enemy will come in order to bring abomination and for the desolation of the sons of God and the daughters of Zion. So now the question would be, will the church really stand to support a narrative, especially if it's not popular, especially if it's not a narrative of million people following? Because there's a culture today that has entered even in the house of God of it's kind of a megalomaniac kind of syndrome where people can't do anything except they are 1,000. People can't do a thing except they are a million. So for us today, it looks like it takes numbers. That's why pastors cannot stand, prophets, no one. You see, we cannot also associate them as, we need to associate them as professionals from today. When we talk pastors, they are professors, they are lawyers, they are advocates, they are doctors. So we're not going to talk about them as if our narrative is talking about the fivefold ascension grace, or maybe pastors, prophets. No. We need to begin to communicate the house of God as the house of professionals, where you have your technicians, you have your scientists, you have your economists, and so that people understand that now we're not standing only in opposition of things that are not in line, but not establishing that which is needed at the community level, because the community needs the economics. We need that local development. We need that community development. We need township planning, smart planning, and township economy to be revived. And that's what we need. We need industrial revitalization in our nation. I mean, prior the integration of the mainstream in regards to the democracy that we are always talking about, and prior that, you will understand that this country is being sustained by industries, factories, manufacturing factories. So all those things are being sold out, and we have actually sourced them out to the Chinese, to so many, and our people are unemployed today because of such action that was taken by the current administration. So now we need to revisit that, to say, what is our strength as a nation? What is the strength of South Africans? And which as we did our research, the strength of South Africans is more of the skill. South Africans are skillful, and now we need to go back and upskill, to reskill them, give them documentations, so they can begin to now be part of the mainstream or the main or the macro economy, and to participate in the global economies. So now we talk economics and at the local level, not even going to the micro or even macro, but we want to go at the local level where it affects the local man, the local woman. What are the things that used to sustain us there? Farming was one of those things, pastoralization. And when we can go back there and begin to revitalize and do reforms in terms of family agriculture, and so that we say one land, or we can say 1 hectare, one garden, and every family in South Africa, at the back, in the front, or the side, must have their own gardens, whether it's the basic primary kind of food, your tomatoes, your onions, your potatoes. We have them in there. We can't be excited to go to Checkers or ShopRite. We need to develop such a mentality that would say and speak to us. Because I can tell you now, with the knowledge I have in the economics, I can tell you that the language of the economics that is being spoken in South Africa, it does not at all include, as much as it's been declared to be inclusive, it does not include an ordinary man or an ordinary woman in the locality. There's an exclusion of a great and measure that is happening in South Africa. Numbers are being thrown in budgets and so forth, and people don't even understand what a trillion is. And they are not even affected by a trillion. They are affected. You see, one thing that I want to bring down to the hearts even of the people at home is that, did you know that you don't need the $1 or rent economy in order to feed your family? You don't need a kind of a billion rand kind of a budget to feed your home. But what you need in your home, many people who don't even have jobs, who are unemployed, and also who have the employability, but they cannot be employed. They are at home. They are having these are academias. These are people who are having certificates, diplomas, degrees. They are unemployed and they are sitting at home. Do you know what is it that actually helps them to live by day? It's not the $1 trillion account. Neither is the billion rand budget that is being placed for a certain or a sector determination. But those people depend on what? On the daily bread. And I believe that we need movements that will address the measure in the economics of the daily bread. And that is actually not even a Keynesian economy. That is not a market economy. That is not a service economy. That is not a manufacturing economy. This is the what we call Jesus economy. When someone is in their home, they don't have bread, they don't have anything to eat, they say, Father, give us our daily bread. They depend, their economy is on bread issues. So now as we say, we are coming on that level, and I can hear that PRM is also coming in that dimension to say, we want to address as to where to go to the level of the people as you have. I heard you say revolution from below, which is defending the poor. And when we are restoring the dignity of the poor people that which are now being segregated and they are not part of their economy, while the ministers and the politicians and the political parties are actually now throwing big numbers in the air. So now I want to clear that up so that people should know we are not coming into standing against particular things alone, but we are also carrying a mechanism to develop our communities, local development. You throw in there community development, and which are the things we are going to talk about for 3 years coming before 2024, so that we talk about them and we are actually practical. We have started now in other communities, President Buthelezi, where we are dealing with such needs to make sure that not only that we give them a fish, but we teach them on how this fish can be caught. And if you can begin to now look at what is it that they can do. We found out through research that South African men, most of them are skillful, but most of them, they are underskilled, and they don't have documentation in order to enhance their businesses and have their sole proprietors in order to grow them to become more competitive in our nation. But now, if we can come up with that kind of a policy formation that deals with our people from the ground, and as we identify their skills, upskill them, reskill them, give them documentation of training, then we absolutely now deal with the community as it is. What is it that needs in the community, bring moral regeneration in the community, and build up to social development and to township and development, economic development. So that is the take. So now I'm supporting the statement in where we are coming from to say through policy formation, there are things that shouldn't be allowed because they are popular. There are things that shouldn't be permitted because they have been led by the current administration. Now, as a kingdom movement, you say to me, now you are coming out robustly, your sense is more steadfast in what you believe. And let me just ask this, President Buthelezi, quickly, that now, what has it been your role in KwaZulu-Natal and in the Free State and in regard to the economics? What has been your role at the local level as we're preparing now for local elections and making sure that we conscientize the people of God and the Church of God, the importance of the move of God that has to emerge, especially in our time and especially in our lifetime? What is that role pertaining local or township economy that the PRM is actually now outlining to, or have already done, or are been preparing to do?
Yeah, the PRM in KZN particularly in eThekwini, where we're a little bit stronger and most organized. We've started working on agricultural cooperatives in areas of Phoenix. There are already agricultural cooperatives. We were of the view of putting those cooperatives and other interested groups, because there is a sewing team. You know, our t-shirts, our banners, everything. There's a sewing cooperative that does. We don't buy t-shirts anywhere except those cooperatives that we created. Women who were retrenched because of the coming in of China taking over. And I don't hate China, but I don't like to work with China or Chinese because they're anti-God. You'd remember. You'll remember Desmond Tutu say. You'll remember Desmond Tutu says, "Hey Zuma, yes. I'm warning you." So I haven't forgotten that Chinese are guilty, but I can see there's a party that recruits on them. They're coming. They're coming into parliament. But we will deal with that once we are allowed by God to confront them, to say, "Hey, are you for God or against God? Explain." This parliament now is now changing. So we are believing that it is through cooperatives that we are going to be able to assist our people control the means of production, not this nationalization that other people are talking about. When we move from here to Gauteng, between Gauteng and KZN, there's a vast of government land. We are now trying, even in KZN, to try and identify the government land, because so there's no need to expropriate that land. It's only to lease it. We want a 50-year lease. This is what we want to do, and we are looking into that. I'm happy that the Kingdom Parliament is also dealing with the issue of the Kingdom Bank, because that's where the church should invest and ensure that we don't listen to the expropriation of banks that do not belong to us and begin to cause clashes between ourselves. And we can invest our own money, our own little resources. Those little resources will be many and become, you know, something to use and to rely on for our future and for our children. Because we don't believe in nationalization. Nationalization goes on with the theories of Marxism-Leninism. Yes, we tap in those theories, but not as a program. To us, Marxism and Leninism is not a program. Are theories that you tap on to understand, you know, the debates and the issues and how the world is moving. And what is it that is correct and not correct? Because they were human beings created by God. Their ideas would be helpful somewhere, but somewhere they are not going to be helpful. You take what is good from what they were saying and combine with what God expects you to do. It's good to understand them. Okay. We grew up under those theories, but you must know that even Marx and Lenin was a creation of God, even if they deny. Even today, there are great theories who can debate and debate and debate and denounce Jesus Christ, because they don't understand. They argue from the Africanist perspective and denounce Jesus Christ and say there was no person like Jesus Christ. But it's fine. You can say that they don't understand the development, the creation, you know, the pre-Adamic creation development and the creation after the pre-Adamic, you know, civilization. But you are here. Yes, we have to focus on economic in the economy in the townships, in rural areas. We have to interact with the kings and queens so that we access the land that they manage at the moment. In KZN, there's Ingonyama Trust land, and we defend the king. In the event that Kgalema Motlanthe recommends that the Ingonyama Trust should be taken away, Julius Malema says so, should be taken away and be incorporated in their program of expropriation without compensation of land. We say no. leave the land is already in the hands of the people that you are fighting for, the people that you are begging votes for. Leave it, don't include. But let's say, how do we help Amakosi, the kings and queens, to develop? What is it that you do during the budget speech or the preparation of the budget, Mr. Minister, the treasurer, to assist the kings and queens in rural areas, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, because I'm asked to talk about KZN. These are lands. There are other projects like data projects that were busy, but we've been frustrated by the Ingonyama Trust Act because we were told that President Cyril Ramaphosa has got an interest. So then Mr. Ngwenya, Judge Ngwenya, who is assisting the king, has been frustrated into ensuring that the data project goes on. I'll explain more. It's a long project, but it needs people, to grow data in a period of 4 months, because the duck, when it grows, it takes 4 months. The turkey, let me say, the turkey, the turkey, it takes 4 months. So it has got these stages of growing. So we are part of that as a PRM. We are registered. We'll be growing the turkey, because Turkey, the country, they import a lot of turkeys. They like turkey a lot, even though I don't eat it, because the Leviticus doesn't allow me. I don't eat pork because Leviticus 11 will be against me. So I'm careful what I put in my mouth. So, but we do those things. And the other women who are selling chickens now, we've got chicken projects. They've already started selling, chickens. A chicken fully grown, say Cornish, is 150, but we have discussed with those who are producing and who are accessing it to sell every member of the PRM at 90 rands. We've made that agreement. Now they're buying and selling at their own, maybe 120, and benefit. And once they have got a 90 rand, they take the 90 rand back, and their benefit would be 30 rands. So that's what we are doing for those who are unemployed, to ensure that they are employed. That project can go everywhere. Maybe the Kingdom Parliament would like us to say, let's also do it somewhere in Gauteng. If there are people who are interested, we'll assist them to get to know where these are accessed. And the drivers that have got code 14, we have negotiated, discussed without fighting, to say, every time that there's a job opportunity, code 14, please do call us. They call us, and we don't get enough code 14 people who can drive and get and earn better without joining a union, without banning trucks, without doing everything that is nasty, but we are giving people jobs. That's what we do, and it's happening. It's happening faster, and we have made it. We have interacted with people, had a relationship, whether they are Hindi, because those that we spoke to are Hindi, and we agree with them on these principles of no abortion, no same-sex marriage, all those. Then we made an agreement. We said, but this is what who we are, and this is what we want to do. How do we help? Can we discuss? They say, no, we'll give you a take off 150 at 90 rand, then you sell at 120, then a person gets 30 rand. So that's what we are doing, and there's a lot. As I've said, our t-shirts. Our t-shirts are created by our own cooperatives that we built. We're buying spinach from our own people. We're doing things before we are there in government to say, what is it that we shall be doing? We continue, but talking these languages, challenging any other organization. And there's no organization that has never been in parliament, but who can make sure that people are fed. Maybe it's the opportunity for me because I'm working for a eThekwini municipality. I'm using those skills and those understanding, and I permeate where sometimes other people would not have permeated, and then get access to know. We are training people to fish, you know, commercial fishing. We need 35 people. I can take those who may be coming from Ecoforum. If there are people who could say, I've got 20 people that I wanted to be trained to ride a boat and fish at the same time. It's not Indian because this is Indian Ocean. Only Indians are going to fish and white people. No, everybody. Jesus Christ fed people with fish. We said we also want to know how to fish. They agreed. They said they will train, bring people, will train them how to do commercial fishing. In winter, usually in June.
President.
Yes.
President, I'm enjoying you. Actually, I could give you the whole hour because, honestly speaking, though we are just left with few minutes, I am so excited in what I'm hearing because you're talking, that's my language. You know, the problem we're having now, which I need to really bring it out there, is that our people have been, I would say, presented with a deal, you know, like a deal breaker. When you talk about development, and there is no, we don't talk about getting investment from outside, or we don't talk about getting $1 billion debt from China or from somewhere, because if you wouldn't know that the debt that the country has entered in and that they are still now meaning pursuing has kept us to who we are today. We are indebted to the world banks and your IMFs and of this world. We are muchly indebted because our leadership doesn't use, you see, the strength of what African people are known of. And the strength is simple. I'm going to give it 2 words. The strength is human capital. The strength is human capital. You see, the reason why we managed, and today we are celebrating that Kingdom Parliament is fully, especially when we talk Kingdom Sovereign Welfare, we are fully registered today. So we are excited because bit of delays from the 1st of March till now. But now our excitement is that we'll be running a kind of a bank that would be assisting ordinary people. And now you are making ordinary South Africans to become shareholders of an institution, and that would could assist them generationally. So it's going to be a build-up of our economies and then of also the communities of this nation, of the republic, where people can come with a little bit of their capital and invest it in this particular banks and create them to grow, which is one man that I know that did it, one president, I don't want to mention by name, who supported cooperatives, and all of them they don't because they've got a capital. It's not a problem to be capitalistic, but if a capitalistic approach becomes capitalism, because we need to make a profit at some point in order to run the country. But now, if that would be a kind of a one-man show, where we are raising 1 billionaire, 2 billionaires, and so forth, I feel like our leaders are failing us there. Hence, I say the emergence of this movement would be, we are thinking at the ground levels, where the force there has to be empowered, not for elections, not for to appoint somebody, and so forth, but for empowerment. Once they are empowered economically, which is what we are doing when it comes to the bank. So the bank will begin to now assist the local businessmen and women in terms of their fundings and growing their businesses. I heard you talking ocean economy, fishermen's and so forth. That's ocean economy, which I believe that we can excel much because we have principles even from the very gardener that we believe in, which is Jesus. So I am so out to Jesus economy because it includes everybody. So it's inclusive. And its inclusivity, it would actually now begin to grow us gradually. The gap that we actually are in now, in regard to the economics, would be closed. You see, because now you see that's why I say our people have been brought into a place of a deal breaker where they were given a deal that says the only way you can make it's when you have a big business, $1 billion business. They no longer have a heart of an African. Remember what used to keep us moving. I grew up selling vegetables, helping our neighbor, after the passing of their father. My mother, as a business lady, said to us, "You're going to take some dishes in the house. I'm going to buy these vegetables, put them on your head, go sell them, bring money, we buy bread for our neighbors. We give it to our neighbors so that they can be fed." My father by then was employed, working, but now we have to do it. But not knowing that we are learning a certain dimension of the economics, which today it has actually taught me how to take care of small things. And I believe that all movements that are politically driven by a kingdom mentality must go back and teach our people on how to go back to those small businesses, go back to those little things that we've been doing and grow them, because that's what we call a township economy. And once you grow that township economy, which does not even need much of a fourth industrial revolution, whether people are knowledgeable with computers or not. But if they can go back and do what they're doing, and we are saying to support them, we'll be standing to support them, whether we support financially or trainings, and we do what we have to do at that particular time, and to make sure that we resuscitate the economy of the township. But realize one thing which I wanted to put across before we close, President Buthelezi. We've got a few minutes left now. Now, the other thing that people must understand, out of this, I was talking about the economics coming down. There is an economy or an economy that we're not talking about, which is particular and important. It's called household economy. Exactly. You see, we can talk township and go to urban, suburban, economy and get to the macro economy and the global economy. But if we cannot affect the household economy, I want to say I see the future, especially in South Africa, when I'm talking to you right now, because I see that the Almighty has heard the prayers of those that are faithful, standing. Ordinary South Africans praying for a new hope, praying for a new house, they were praying for a new move, and they wanted the move. God, I see hope, because you see what I see now is that the emergence of this movement, especially even as you spoke from the PRM, you are saying to me, as you are talking my language, that now you are empowering them personally in resuscitate what we call a household economy. That man that is out there does not depend on a $3 trillion or $1 trillion rent budget, or neither $1 billion rent budget that is announced by the minister, but they depend on a daily bread. Hence, you see the minister will give them an extra 30 rand, an extra 10 rand. What an abominable kind of a speech that could be, that even in percentage, it cannot be accountable to be a percent. Neither can it be even a 0.10% of what they are giving our elderly people who are taking care of 7 to 8 children, and their mothers and fathers have passed because of some of them were maybe diagnosed of HIV/AIDS and whether cancer or so. But now because of the loss of the parents, then these children are led by elderly people. But we go and we come out with a budget that says we give 30 rand or 10 rand increment. Now I want to bring it down to say, as they are doing what they are doing, stripping our elderly people of their dignity, whom are the ones who have built this economy, and they are the ones who have built these bridges that you see. They have built these very offices where these people are seated. They have built these very towns where you see these ministers are enjoying this lavish lifestyle. But now the same elderly people today are being treated like now nothing, and they are born, and they don't bring anything. And now a minister will go there and just add 10 rand on that, not looking at the possibilities on how to empower them in their own houses. But if the people, as the people revolutionary movement says, like people comes out and say, we are here to advocate for the elderly and for many households to resuscitate a household economy. I tell you, President Buthelezi, if that could be done in this republic for the next 10 years, we're going to have an economy that is great and strong because it's been built from the ground. And to encourage you to keep on building from the ground. And it's not about billions, it's not about having billionaires. It's about human capital in contribution. The little they have, as you said, the little they have, our own resources, we bring them together. We build our own banks, we build our own economy, locally and also even provincially and nationally, and make sure that our people understand how to take care of our local products. And to a point that, now one thing that I want to bring because of time, quickly, I'm just talking that one will catch what I'm saying, is that we also want to take the whole authority when it comes to food insecurity in terms of those that are in need, and food security in terms of what the food that we eat, and have authority on the food. We need to become producers. We have been subservient consumers for a long time. We have sourced our abilities. We are actually going to call out all in the body of Christ and communities in the Republic to stand out, and whether it's in the front of your house, at the back, or in the side, we're going to grow those spinaches. We're going to have those tomatoes on the walls. We're going to have your greens on this, on your stupid side. You just take out the tomato. You can't be proud of having some checkers or some plastics from other shops. We need to educate our people or reform them to go back to their old deeds and do as they did. And I believe that would actually now encourage a household economy. Now, let us take it forth. We are only left with 6 minutes, and I'm just going to give you 2 minutes on this, and just to give us your heart, and as we are sharing the stage together. We spoke about you spoke about Marx and Lenin, and whom has actually carried out a certain narrative. And one thing that they did is that they actually took from the Bible, and I'll put this clear. And if I had to take them to court, one of the years you will take them to court even if they are not alive. Now this is very much important. They took out from the Bible, and they did it through plagiarism without qualification. Remember, when you look at how the governments are being run today, that's what they have brought forth. Now we can call it communism, but the embers that are in the governments, in regard to what we have, judiciary, legislature, and executive. They are there, but these are narratives that were brought by men, but they never codified where they took it from. They took that narrative from the canon law, from the book of Isaiah. And when Isaiah spoke about this 2,000 something years ago, 2,500 years ago, they took that and they begin to now make it their own way. And now he said, for our Lord, or for the Lord is our judge, in the book of Isaiah 33, or Act number 33, yes, I would say Act number 33 of 22, that we'll find there, it's the book of Isaiah 33 verse 22. We will see there, the book of Isaiah 33 verse 22. Now when you look at it, it says, for the Lord is our judge. Number 2, for the Lord is our lawgiver. Number 3, the Lord is our king. Then it says in conclusion, he shall save us. That is the doctrine of separation of power, that which the church of God, all kingdom movements must adhere and understand. Because the first talks judiciary, the second actually indicates legislation, the third indicates executive. When you look at the three, where we are now, hence we have the CJ, the Chief Justice, on judiciary, and we never had a movement that stands for legislation. Now we are having kingdom parliament that is standing for legislation. We never had this. We always wanted to operate here, while these two platforms are being controlled, by communism and socialism and other conservative or even other movements. So now in South Africa, grace has been granted. We have the judiciary that is led by the Son of Glory. Hence, he's been taken through a pillar and post, tossed up and down for forgiveness for what he believes. And now the CJ Chief Justice is going through that. So in that reason, we are having judiciary. So we need to pray for this man. For judiciary, we can't lose the CJ for presidential. We can't lose the CJ from judicial to executive. No, we can't. We need him to master this one, to advocate this one, even after they become the former and the Chief Justice. He must master this one so that we go back to the laws of the kingdom. Because remember, you cannot fight this fight if you don't understand the laws, the canons. So to put it plain, then if that is done, then we raise legislation, then we raise the executive, PRM, ECOFOR, CLMSA, ACDP, and others who believes what we will put on the table and say we believe in this as a kingdom mandatory, without prejudice, without favor. We stand for the kingdom of God. Then we will execute the three embers accordingly. That is when joy will come back to the city. That is when joy will come back to the locality. That is when joy will take up to the nation. Now, as the PRM, in terms of the law, in terms of you taking it up, in terms of the legislation, how do you want to affect the judiciary and the legislation, the executive at once? And what is your take on that, President? As I give it that 2 minutes, we complete and we close. And thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all our viewers at home. I want to thank you. I know it's not easy. We try to take it up and make sure that we do as we will. And they would like you to make comments as you like and come on board. It's hot in here. I tell you, this is the road towards it. We'll make sure that we broadcast this until we get down to a place where we should. Remember, we are not friends with the SABCs and the ETVs. And remember one thing, we might judge and begin to be more robust when it comes to political movements. But if you are not there, you don't know what it takes. I've learned to respect the likes of Mishu and so forth, and I've got to understand what they are actually going through, because even media does not actually adhere to them as like other traditional parties. So now I want you to stand with us and support us and like us, and make sure that you are the support system that is actually pushing us in prayer, push us in what you have, push us financially, push us any other way to make sure that these political movements are making it into the parliament in the next sittings. I tell you, you will see change in this republic, and we're gonna hear a new voice coming forward, and this is going to happen in our lifetime. And I want to thank you all for coming through. Thank you for taking time and just using your own data and using your time with family to listen to us. We're going to do this daily. Don't expect us to do it on SABC and so forth. You need to understand how these things are operating. You might not have that platform if you are not in the parliament. And moreover, if you are actually not of a certain narrative. So now we're going to use platforms that we have in order to reach unto you. And we ask of you to give us your ear, give us your time, hear us out. Here is the PRM, People's Revolutionary Movement, led by President Buthelezi. In KZN, they are making a difference. They have their narrative, they believe in what they believe, and I believe that they have a freedom in how they should express themselves, or whether the freedom of their speech in however they want to come out into really shedding and the truthfulness of what kingdom movements are all about. And now, for this time that you've granted me, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for coming through. Oh, the president is back, and for that reason, I wanted to close. But now, because he's back, let me just allow him in just a minute or two, just for his all full remarks. I thought I'm closing because we were disconnected. But now, please, President, your just 2 minutes remarks, and that to for us to close and just to wrap up for the evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, President Governor, my leader, my pastor, my everything. I'm learning a lot from you. You know, today I know the household economy, which in fact comes closer to what we usually at the PRM call socialization, not socialism.
That's right.
For socialism. Socialization, you know, working together as cooperatives, you know, because that's how the early societies would do. So even Jesus Christ, when he was with his disciples, they would work together in everything that they would do, and encouraging people to do things on their own, not relying on government, because Jesus Christ was against the Roman Catholic Church of the time, not this one. So that the Roman Catholic Church, people do not think that we are anti them, but we are anti that Roman Catholic Church.
Thank you. Just to stand on, and I see the president is having difficult that side. And let me just complete in what you were saying, that Jesus was moreover anti, standing against, but what he did also as a governor, he complimented much of the things that were done when it came to tithe and tax. He said, continue and with your taxes and give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. What a wise governor. But today we have people who are talking against tithe, against pastors, who are looking for tithes and looking for offerings. That is the economy of the church. You can't take it away. So if you want to take it away, you need to take us away. So you can't take it away. It will remain there. It came there before you come. So whether a pastor is going to church for money, that's his own business with God. But we are actually understanding the importance. We start by being givers. I'm a giver, and you are a giver. So let us continue in our churches and do the right thing, especially where we are, and make sure that our churches are funded accordingly. Make sure that you fund your churches, you love your churches, your pastors, and make sure you pray for them. Make sure that you forgive them. Make sure that you love their families as much as they loved you and received you in their church. Now, this narrative on the media, social, don't follow it much. Get to love them. Get to pray for them. Get to forgive them. Do what you used to do. Give what you used to give. And may God bless you as we meet again on the following Thursday. It's going to be lit and more in fire. And I want to thank you and thank the president of PRM who has come. And I want to thank you all who has come aboard. We're building up on this, and now you're going to assist us and to also now begin to make our program and broadcast to be great. What we need. And thank you so much, and may God bless you. May God bless the church. May God bless the body of Christ. May God bless South Africa. May God bless Africa and the world. And for this moment, we stand to say, now is the time for the emergence of kingdom movements, unapologetically so. We are coming, and I would say in this hour, to make sure that now our communities are being taken care of, whom are the real government. And I want to thank you all. And I want to say to you all, this is TV, and the final word from myself, BJ Langer, the chairman of this move, and moreover to thank you all, to say God bless you and God bless South Africa. Thank you so much.